Another Dewalt saw, and this one's quite fresh, not that old. This is the dw718 Type 2. The problem is, it's burnt the field out. The field's cooked. Problem is, this field is no longer available. Cannot purchase it anymore. 110 or the 240 volt. So to see if I can get another field for this from a different type Dewalt saw. That's the problem. All the other types now, 3, 4 and 5, actually only have 2 leads on it. So unless I buy a new lead and see if the field's the same size to fit into this housing, and wire the new lead into the switch in the correct way. Pull this all apart and we'll check the dimensions of the field. You can see your field is burnt up down here on your brake. That's the brake winding, which is shorted out then onto the main winding. So thought it was the motor to begin with, the armature, because you're sparking heavily. But the armature actually tests fine, nothing wrong with it. But I knew it didn't think it was the armature anyway, because it just doesn't smell right. It wasn't the right sort of smell coming off the saw. So this is the culprit here, burning field. That's what the smell was. See if I can get something to match this now. This is a 708 field. This is the older version again. That looks alright. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with that. And she's wired up the same way. So that's a possibility. Other option is a newer version. This is for a DW, I think that is a 780, maybe wrong, to check the number. That again will work, but different wiring, it's wired up differently. So I'll have to check that one. If I use one of these here fields, it only takes 2 wires into it. We'll also have to change the switch as well and the wiring loom going to it. So let's see which one I can use here. This is for the dw708 Type 3, but again this is obsolete as well. Same field, same number as the Type 2 718. So if you can get one of them fields off the older saw, if you have a scrap one, you can use it. That's what I'm going to use to replace this one. The other option is to order the field for the dw718 Type 3, 4 or 5. Different field, different wiring, so you'll have to change the field, you'll have to change the actual wire leading into the field, and you have to change the switch. Worst case scenario, you may also have to change the body, and you will have to also change the brush holder. So if you go with this Type 3, 4, 5, 718 saw, you'll have to change the field, brush holder, switch for definite, maybe even the body of the housing of the saw. This should hopefully get this one up and running again for a bit less. Here, this back in again. Red and white to the top, and black and yellow to the bottom. Tidy up all these wires. Make sure they're all sitting down flat, because they're sticking up at all. Your air deflector will be jammed up and the fan will rub on the air deflector, so make sure everything's pushed down correctly. Put onto all these wee tabs. If they're not on correctly, that's going to sit too high. It'll start rubbing off the fan, so make sure they're right. That should be her. Lovely. Finish it off. That seems to have done the trick anyway. That's her, up and running again. It's the dw718. She's a very fresh looking saw. Doesn't look like it's been got much abuse. Well cared for anyway, well looked after. It's actually 2008, so it's about 15 years old. And it is a shame they don't do the motors for them anymore, so fields and armatures for these here are obsolete. But if you're looking to fix them up, you can get them for different models. Getting the right one is the problem, because you can end up buying an armature and it'd be no good and having to send it back and cost you money. But yeah, field for them, same field as a 708 if you're wanting to use a second hand one, or else go for the type 3, 4 or 5 and also change the brush holder, this lead here, and your switch down in there. That should also get it up and running again.